Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
So I do it in private.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8 o'clock a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Good morning to everybody. It is Friday, the 19th of August. It's a nice day outside, a really nice day. It's a nice calm day. The sun is out. It's very bright, not too hot. The birds are chirping. The butterflies are fluttering. There's an abundance of gnats. I did look over the bridge where we're at, and I think a fish passed away on the rocks, and the bird that tried to get it didn't get it, so now it's festering. A little something for you to think about as you sip your coffee. But good morning, everybody. We have a great guest today. We have Mr. Gary Swick, Friends of the Fox River, with us to talk about Dam Night Out. How are you today?
I'm just like the weather.
Easy like Sunday morning. Oh, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. Great to be here. Hi, Aurora.
Hello, Aurora. Now we're going to talk about Dam Night Out, which is August 24th, coming up here.
Coming up.
What is Dam Night Out? What's going to be happening?
Dam Night Out is developing into a series of community visits by Friends of the Fox River. We've been advocating for restoring the river from the beginning of our organization over 30 years ago. And we've realized 50 years of progress with improved water quality and habitat in the river. But river restoration through dam removal is the next big step. It's the biggest bang for the buck to get back to a healthy river.
So dams inhibit the quality of a river? Is that what we've come to learn over time?
They do indeed. Okay. So it's kind of a long story, and that I'll get back to the event.
We got an hour, my man.
All right. So at Dam Night Out, we go down to the river, and at the dam if we can, or in the case of Aurora, in the impoundment. Just upstream. Impoundment is the name for the still water area, and have a brief overview about that the river's over 10,000 years old, and humans have only been impacting it for 200 years.
Wow.
And a big question is why the dams were built, and so we talk about that kind of history, and then quickly talk about when a dam is removed, what it's going to look like.
Okay.
Then we go to a venue where we can take a deeper dive and have a slideshow and look at scientific data, factual information. And what we intend to do in these events is to address the fears that people have, the misinformation that is swirling around, present information to people, not tell them what to think, meet them where they are. People, it's a very controversial thing for people. It's a cultural thing because those dams have been there our entire lives. Everybody that's here, it's part of the town. But it served the town, I'm drifting a little, but it served the town when we didn't have a source of electricity. So we used the river to grind grain, to saw lumber. We used the impoundments to cut ice before we had refrigeration. Those days are gone.
Right.
So the dams no longer serve a function that they were designed for, and they are a serious inhibitor, degrader of water quality and eliminator of healthy habitat.
Now, see, I didn't know any of that. I didn't think about it like that. Probably with most listeners, I'm thinking of, taking pics with your kids. You're just on top of the dam. Hey, you're fishing off, and wow, beautiful sunset. Look at the dam and the way it, So when you talk about the fear and misinformation, is it because people just don't want to deal with perhaps seeing something that they grew up with, or do they think something worse may take its place? Like, what does that fear really translate into for people? What are they scared of?
Well, I think there's two parts of it. One is we're taking away memories. That's a place where we weren't supposed to go as kids, so we went there. Or it's a place where grandpa taught us to fish.
Right.
And so it's part of that, but it's also what's going to happen. And those are the big questions. What about all that toxic sediment? Or there's going to be no water left, or there's going to be so much water, everything's going to flood out, or the river's going to dry up and it's just going to be a mosquito breeding place. And we don't have to have that wonder, because there's hundreds of stories of dam removal. And so that's what we do in the presentation. We share that kind of stuff. That the data about the sediment, the data about fish returning, the data about freshwater mussels. We look at before and after pictures. And so we try to take people from wherever they are, but away from fear, away from misinformation, and get them into a place where they're really excited that this is going to take place. And with some very recent news, somebody else is going to pay for it.
Oh, we can hit the clap for that. Yeah, hit the claps. That's right.
Love that. Do you have a laugh track?
We do, as a matter of
fact. All right, we'll save it.
All right. We did. So when did the review of the data and the review of the negative effects of dams, when did that start?
I don't know when it started, but there is a study of just the Fox River, of 15 dams on the Fox River, that was done in 2003. The Santucci-Gebhardt study, and they looked at all the dams, and they looked at above and below fish diversity, macroinvertebrate diversity, which is basically fish food, like dragonfly larvae, etc. Physical chemical water quality, and habitat. And so by habitat, what I mean is the difference between a mucky bottom or a rocky substrate, which is a place where eggs can be laid or macroinvertebrates can hide between rocks.
Right.
So all 15 dams were consistent, and they rated them just like a grade at school, A to E in this case. And everywhere below the dam was a B, and everywhere above the dam was a D.
Okay.
So very basically, if you remove the dam, you just pumped up your grade point average from a D to a B.
Santucci-Gebhardt study.
Yep.
2003. Okay. Interesting.
I can cite where people can find that study, actually.
Okay.
We can type, however you do that. I have the link to that.
Awesome. Now, the Friends of the Fox River, what's the history of the organization?
Born in Elgin.
All right.
The founder, Pat Reese. I think I read in a newspaper article, they asked him what his job was. And he said he's a fisherman who occasionally takes work to buy food and support his fishing habit.
I love it.
So he was a feet in the stream kind of guy. And there was a project in Elgin where a bunch of concrete, I think from the Kimball Street Bridge, was dumped on the shoreline and damaged the shoreline. And so he wanted to find out how to fix that problem and protect it from happening in the future, and found out the river really didn't have a voice. And so he decided he was going to do something about it without having any kind of organizational background.
Right.
And he looked for mentors. So he looked for other organizations that were doing similar things. He looked at the McHenry County Defenders. He looked at a program on the Rouge River in Michigan. And he also looked to our urban legend, the Fox. And the Fox used the media to spread his message, but it was giving the people a voice, empowering people to understand that their river is being impacted and for them to want to protect it, to do something about it. And so all that together became Friends of the Fox River, and it was really successful right from the get-go. Powerful board, boomed the membership, had a big paper publication that came out regularly. That was that was your question, right? The beginning?
Yeah. Yep.
Of it. So here we are 30 years later, and we're small but mighty. We have a lot of allies, sister organizations who are concerned about the Fox River, but they have different jurisdictions. Like some of them might have a county border. Oh. The Fox River Study Group looks at just a section of the Fox River, mainly the urban corridor that we have. Sierra Club was right there with Friends of the Fox River from the beginning, and they did water quality testing with their Water Sentinels program once a month. But Sierra Club looks at a lot of things. They look at energy, transportation, all kinds of things.
The full gamut of conservation, right?
So the Valley of the Fox is the local chapter. So Friends of the Fox, what makes us different is that we have a watershed-wide focus. So we're concerned with it from when it comes out of the ground as a trickle near Waukesha, Wisconsin, to where it dumps into the Illinois River in Ottawa by Starved Rock.
Wow, I didn't know that. From Waukesha, Wisconsin to Ottawa and Starved Rock. That's the Fox River.
Yep.
That is amazing.
Yep. So, and it's a very difficult thing to manage. So going back to Pat Reese, his deal was, if you're going to save this dying river, those are his words, you cannot do it one organization, one municipality. It has to be everybody all in watershed thinking. And so just trying to project that concept of what a watershed is, so anything that happens 20 miles away from the Fox River but can drain into Blackberry Creek and then drain in the Fox to the Illinois River, to the Mississippi River, to the Gulf of Mexico. So you got to manage the whole watershed if you're trying to manage the river,
right,
per se. And that's one thing that has changed. Water quality was a river problem, but when we really started sprawling in the area, like Aurora is a good example.
Development
okay. All over the place. Now all those little tributaries are being impacted by erosion and nutrient runoff, etc.
Right.
So that's all concentrating into the river. So it's kind of like the circulatory system in your body. Like, you could have a heart issue or one artery, but when it's all your capillaries start having a problem, now it's really hard to deal with. So you got to treat the whole thing like your diet.
Right.
You just don't fix your finger.
I'm curious to know too. So in the 30 years of time since the organization has been around, we started with the issue that Pat Reese had as the founder, Kimball Street Bridge and everything associated with that. What's been some of, what have been huge? Because now the environment, I think people and climate take more care than they used to. In this time, what have been some of the other big, huge red flags that have gone up that Friends of the Fox River has been, raising awareness about too?
Okay.
Or has it all just been rivers, tributaries, and the?
No, it's a complicated thing.
Okay.
And it's a good story. So Pat started with the river needs a voice, all right, to protect itself. Right. And so that's making people aware, from the general public to their decision makers and decision makers on up on the line. Right. And so federal water quality legislation impacts everything under it. So back 60 years ago, the river was nasty. Like, you could see turds in it. There was not much fish diversity. Fish that are in there had sores. Kids were told, like, you can't go in the river, you know? Right. And that's kind of another story I'm working on, is who's telling the story. So if you're having people telling the story from 50 years ago and it's different now, that's right, it's not accurate. That's right. And so that's part of what we do with educating young people. Like, where is it now and what do you want it to be? But getting back to your question. Yeah. So really the big turning point was 1970. The Clean Water Act is the environmental movement nationally. We had a Clean Air Act, resource recovery, a whole suite of legislation. And what the Clean Water Act did, basically, it looked at point sources of pollution. So that's something you can point at, a pipe. So the Aurora wastewater treatment plant, all right, which had not much regulation relative to today. 25, right? Well, there's a couple, yes. Okay. Let's just, yes. So now with the Clean Water Act is there are regulations, parameters about how much phosphorus, how much bacteria, et cetera, can go into the river, but those regulations were enforced, so there was incentive. Right. But a big thing was it was mandated with funding. So all the wastewater treatment plants, I'm generalizing now, and even private ones got federal money to come up to speed to work on improving water quality. And you can see it on graphs, like how quickly things improved. Then around 2000, we identified a different problem, and it's non-point source pollution, something you can't really point to one particular source to stop it, and that would be stormwater. So when it rains, everything that's falling on pavement is picking up everything on that pavement, right, and it's traveling somewhere. It no longer can go to the wastewater treatment plant because that's got a volume limit on what it can handle. And so now stormwater goes directly or indirectly right to the river. Indirectly would be in a detention basin. Right. For a while, like every development that is built now has to have a place to hold stormwater, either retain it or detain it for a while. So stormwater is the big pollution right now. But it's, I should say, correct that a little bit. It's non-point source pollution. It's not just stormwater. It's runoff off fields. So somebody's lawn, a park, an agricultural field. So those are much more difficult to deal with. Clean Water Act 2 had new regulations, new enforcement, which was mostly self-reporting, and no funding. I see. So now it's a little bit on us, right, as the public, and that's a little bit unfair. Like when the plastic industry is saying, you know, well, plastics really aren't a problem if you recycle, right? Yeah. So we're learning, like, maybe don't buy it, kind of thing. So it's so important that the public become empowered and educated that so many things we do impact water quality, and it's the whole watershed. So as an example, a big push from Friends of the Fox, but so many other organizations, is planting native species that help rebuild the ecosystem. And then part of that is those plants, deep-rooted, hold soil there. And those plants don't require heavily intensive lawn care. You put them in. They don't need to have nutrients added because they've been living there for 5,000 years. They know how to do it.
Right.
You don't have to water them. They know how to deal with Northern Illinois drought.
Right.
And so this is part of culture change that I talk about, is getting people to like look at the lawn culture. Like, why was that created, and do we really want to keep doing that? Or do we want to have butterflies and bees in our yard?
I can tell you, I want butterflies and bees, brother. That's what we want. We want butterflies and bees.
I heard that from you in the beginning.
That's right. The time is 8:20 a.m. If you are just tuning in, we have Gary Swick, Friends of the Fox River, here to talk about dam night out, amongst other things, and dam removal feasibility. John Schomer, good morning to you. Jen Mendoza, good morning. Gloria Gerardo, thanks for tuning in. Mike Hess, Joe Jackson, Claudia Sanchez, Tracy Duran, Chris Faber, Norma Peterson, Aisha Saxon, Jennifer Ryan Mayton, Karen Flowers. Good morning to all of you fantastic and wonderful people. The time is 8:21 a.m. I'm going to read about the Dam Night Out and the specifics on the event for anyone who's interested. Again, it's going to be August 24th. Check this out. Here's the schedule. 6 p.m., gather at the Roundhouse and walk to River Edge Park, bike and pedestrian bridge, a fantastic structure. 6:15 p.m. will be the overview of Fox River's natural and cultural history and introduction to river restoration and a question period. 6:45 p.m. you come back to the Roundhouse Tavern Room for food and beverages that'll be available for purchase. And 7:15, Science of River Restoration involving dam removal. The event is designed to explore Fox River restoration and dam removal. According to Mr. Swick, he said Friends representatives will detail Fox River history, concerns from scientific data, and an exciting vision for the future. Quote, the future looks bright for improved water quality and habitat and for the benefits to fish, mussels, paddlers, and the whole community. Power is no longer generated by these dams, nor are ice blocks harvested. That was some interesting history to learn right there. I didn't think, you're right. That's right. That's not even going to, that's out of there.
Right.
We can't keep doing the same thing just because. It's time for a new future.
It's time to free the river.
Free the river. That's the hashtag. I like that. Free the river. Okay, for more information, call 815-370-0026 or email DAM at FOTFR.org. And I'll read real quick about the Friends of the Fox River, a West Dundee-based nonprofit whose mission is to preserve, restore, and protect the Fox River watershed's resources by connecting people with nature through education, research, restoration, and advocacy. All right. The time is 8:23 a.m. So you were a science teacher.
Environmental science.
Science. I noticed that when you talk about science, you get animated, man. You it's your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's life.
Yeah. What'd you like most about being an environmental science teacher?
Wow. Connecting people to nature.
Okay.
Helping them understand their life and how they interact with the natural environment. It's kind of empowering young people. And I liked hanging out with young people.
Yeah.
And I like the interaction. Mm-hmm. With that, and seeing, it's kind of that light bulb going on that people talk about.
Yeah.
But I think what really was exciting for me was working with underachieving, unmotivated students. Like, high-performing students don't really need much help.
Right.
But individuals that are kind of lost, like school's not serving them,
right?
And they got to go out and be a productive citizen. We'd like them to go out. That's
right.
Why we invest in schools, right? It's our future.
Exactly.
And so being able to ignite something that students maybe didn't think they had, And so with environmental science, you use it all. You use math, you use public speaking, you use language arts, you look at history,
right,
to piece it all together. And so those, I forget your original question.
No, you got, yeah.
All right.
So I'm interested. The Army Corps of Engineers is involved or is going to be involved. 10 dams, 10 years. Is that
that is a hope.
Okay.
That we have, that's going to result from a study that's been going on for 8 years. So the Army Corps of Engineers has jurisdiction over navigable waters.
Okay.
And the Fox River has different jurisdictions over different parts of it. Like U.S. Fish and Wildlife deal with migratory waterfowl.
Right.
The DNR deal with the natural life that's in there and the water.
You've used
that's
DNR
there.
twice.
The Department of Natural Resources.
We get a lot of acronyms on
Yep,
the show,
sorry.
We try to hook you listeners up. DNR, man.
Yep, sorry about that. And it's really frustrating for me when I'm on the other end of that, by the way. Okay. And the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, has jurisdiction over the chemistry of the river, like what goes in to it. So it's a lot of things together. But if you are going to interrupt the flow of the river, that's the Army Corps. So they've been conducting a study for quite a while. It gets into a little bit of a political story with when funding isn't available, a lot of stuff shuts down.
Right.
Dick Durbin just showed up in Elgin about a month ago with $250,000 of federal money that got earmarked to restart and complete the study. So we're hoping for the public draft to be coming up in March.
Okay.
And that will talk about all the dams on the main stem of the Fox River and the feasibility of removal. And every dam is different. It has different situations. A concern in Elgin has to do with drinking water source.
Right.
A concern in Batavia is the Depot Pond. It's a man-made pond, but it got Life magazine. Anybody old enough to remember Life magazine? It was on the cover of people ice skating on Depot Pond. Like, you take away Depot Pond, like you're taking away Batavia, even though it was human made.
Right.
So everything's going to require different management. When dams come out, we really don't know what the river is going to decide to do, what the bottom is like. Mm-hmm. So the river's going to carve things out, but once it gets down to hard bedrock, it's not going deeper than that. So it might go laterally.
Right.
So there are places where islands are going to appear. And so that requires studying the bottom.
Right.
And that probably has been the least studied thing. So the Army Corps is going to have conversations with each dam owner, or even, like, a lot of these dams are owned by the state of Illinois. So the state of Illinois really can decide what's going to happen with that dam, but it would be, let's just call it, would be courtesy to speak with the community and help them through how it's going to impact them. And so getting back to Dam Night Out, what we want to help people understand are the myriad of benefits that are going to come from a free-flowing river through their community. They're not making ice anymore. They're not running the mill anymore. Now they're going to have much better habitat, increased fish diversity, aesthetically better, economic drivers of more paddlers and other visitors.
Yeah.
And I'll give a plug in here for the fabulous Fox River Water Trail that is soon to be getting national designation, like a national park. And that is intended to bring people through for all kinds of reasons. It could be Irish pub crawl, or the best donut shops, or the best bass fishing places, or to come and watch the Eagles. So
the band or the birds, the actual fight?
Well, maybe both. We have River Edge Park, right?
Yeah, we do. We do.
So, yeah, so, to help a community understand that they can get really excited about what it's going to be, but for so many people, they can't vision what it's going to be like. So that's the intent of Dam Night Out, is to help people get to that place.
Now, you mentioned that you work with, or the organization works with, the Sierra Club, amongst other organizations and things. Do you guys meet regularly with the, how does that partnership or that working with them look like?
Very loosely.
Okay.
Like we support each other.
Okay.
Kind of thing, like the Fox River Ecosystem Partnership.
Okay.
We post each other's events, but we do work collaboratively once a year at the Fox River Summit, which is in March, and it's held in Burlington, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And
nice place.
Yeah. But if I have a visual, maybe you can do it for yourself. Imagine a Green Bay Packer helmet.
Ugh. Oh yeah, I can imagine that.
Okay, imagine a Chicago Bear helmet.
Right.
You have a map of the watershed. 1/3 of it is in Wisconsin.
Okay.
2/3 of it is Illinois.
Okay.
The Packer helmets in Wisconsin, the Bears helmets in Illinois. All right, we're going to work together.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Very loosely.
Right. So it takes a lot of work.
Right.
And it's trying to manage a watershed that's in 2 states, 15 counties, 100 municipalities is a challenge.
Right.
But that leads me to the second big watershed event, and that's coming up on September 17th.
Oh, that's right. And this is a great time. Where's that flyer? Do you got that flyer? Where's that flyer at?
I think I gave it to you, but I can tell you about it.
You got another one? Where did I put that flyer? Makeup! Oh, wait, I got it right here. Here we go. Yes. Let's zoom in on that. It's our Fox River Day. Very cool. How will you celebrate? Saturday, September 17th. And it's a great acronym, too. I offered. That's what it comes to. Yep. QR code is right here. I'll make a post for this so folks can take part in this later. It's got a great map on it, too, which shows Waukesha, Illinois, and going on down to Ottawa, which is in LaSalle County.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Sponsored by Friends of the Fox River. All right.
Is it time to talk about it?
Absolutely, brother. Yes.
All right. Definitely. So I tried to roll out the challenge of working as a watershed.
Okay.
So this idea, it's got a bit of a history, but the concept originally was, let's have a watershed-wide cleanup. Everybody's going to clean up on the same day. We're showing that unity. We're all together, Fox River watershed. And that's how we rolled it out. Then COVID came and made doing things together more challenging.
Right.
And then we tried to pump it up and get many people to host events. Friends of the Fox physically is really small as far as staff goes, but our jurisdiction and our mission is very big. So we need partners. So what we look for is different people to do cleanups over this 200-mile stretch. Rotary clubs, Kiwanis, youth groups, churches, businesses, municipalities. Anybody can do a cleanup. We found out, that's overwhelming to ask somebody to do a cleanup.
Right.
I can show up to one, but where do you get the bags? What about gloves? Who's got the dumpster? What about liability?
Right.
All these things. So we at Friends of the Fox, we got some fun running through our veins. And so we fund it up. And so the intent of it is the I offered part is to offer thanks and recognition to the river. And you do it any way you want. A cleanup is very tangible, very gratifying for people. You can understand, I got that straw out of there, right? I got that fishing line. out of there.
Shopping carts.
Yeah, the times have changed. Like, we've made so much progress with cleanups. It has gone from shopping carts to plastic straws,
right?
But they're still in there. And as the river goes down, we find legacies that are there. But so anything goes if it's a celebration or recognition of the Fox River. And just sharing, like, this is pretty special being in Aurora. We're on an island right now, right?
Yep.
In the Fox River. And people pass over it and like, oh, it's brown and green, and they don't think much of it. Fisher people know how alive it is. Mm-hmm. Kids that get in the stream and collect data know how alive it is, but most people kind of take it for granted. People that don't live in river towns think living in a river town is pretty special because they don't have it.
Exactly.
And so that's what we're trying to do, is for people to see this great thing that we have. And so when you were talking about an organization you have that has an event on the 17th,
yep.
I'm sorry, but my thinking is, that is so awesome that you are going to do an It's Our Fox River Day event, because you don't have to change your event at the venue.
Right.
But if you were to just tell the story,
absolutely,
for part of your thing, like, imagine 15,000 years ago, Aurora was covered in ice. And when it melted, it carved out this river valley. And it's so abundant with all kinds of diversity of plants and animals, and native peoples lived here for hundreds of years and took advantage of that. Oh, and then the Europeans came.
Dun, dun.
And the Europeans...
Oh, well, it fits for some reason.
And the Europeans wanted to settle down.
Sure.
And that's when we start taking control of nature instead of living in harmony and using it just to stay alive. Like, I'm not judging anybody that wants to eat and have a roof over their head.
Right.
But when you're a permanent resident, you start impacting things.
Right.
Let's just take sewage, right?
Right.
And so now we're trying to turn the tide, and people have changed. Like 30 years ago, all the businesses, the backs were to the river. That's where the railroad track was. That's where you dumped your waste out the back. Now what do you got in Aurora? People are facing the river. You got River Edge Park. Mm-hmm. You have new developments that are celebrating the river.
And coming soon right there, DAC Developments was announced. That'll be apartments coming on the east bank of the Fox River in between La Quinta and, not Java Plus. What's the name of it? Jake's Bagels. That's right, Jake's Bagels. Yeah.
Oh,
so that'd be cool. Yeah.
So that kind of development. It's very important for those people to understand, like, what's it going to be and how exciting it's going to be. A similar thing is happening in Elgin, just north of the dam, and there's looks at development. But might as well wait till we take the dam out to see what the river does before we start, like, putting shovels in the ground and investing heavily in it.
So I have a question about the dam removal and what that could look like. So is that, and I'm a novice at this, so I'm just gonna imagine.
Everyone is.
True. Thank you very much. That is exploding the dam, or using is that what it looks like to remove a dam?
That would be so fun.
Wouldn't it be cool? I was like, when is that happening? Dynamite?
Generally speaking, from my limited knowledge, you chip away at it. Okay. It's like a jackhammer on a big piece of heavy equipment. You make a notch. So generally speaking, the impoundment is 9 feet above the regular river. Okay?
This is a good point.
Because of the dam.
What's the impoundment and a dam? Let me...
Okay.
What's that?
Okay.
You've used that a couple times.
You have a free-flowing river.
Okay.
And you put in an obstruction. Okay. Let's call it the dam.
All right.
That dam slows water down on the upstream side, and it starts filling up like a bathtub.
Right.
All right. And that area that fills up is referred to as the impoundment. It's the unnatural lake that gets formed there. So you chip away at the dam, you draw down the impoundment, and then you remove the structure that's there.
Okay.
And that's when restoration work begins. So now you see what you have and what you're dealing with. And then they do whatever they decide in their plan about contouring. Sometimes they still restrict the river a little bit to protect shoreline that's there. But generally, the exposed area will be planted, hopefully with native vegetation that holds the soil there and provides habitat itself.
Okay, got it.
In some places, it's called a cofferdam, and they wall off part of the river so they can work in a dry environment. So it's engineering, but it's not like the giant brick smokestacks that they blow up the bottom and you see it all fall.
That's what I was, right.
And the dust impacts all the people.
Okay.
It's a little bit at a time.
Okay.
And there's plenty of history on dam removal. This is not new at all.
Of course. Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
So I'll just throw in, if somebody wants to get an idea of what it's going to look like upstream, they can go stand at a dam and look downstream and see the fast flowing water, the riffles, the many people fishing, people wading in it. Right now, above it, it's a slow moving, low oxygen, warm, nutrient rich, mucky bottom lake.
Now we got science class for you today. You have some visual aid.
I do.
Show us. Yeah, let's bring that out.
All right.
Yes.
That's the sediment tube.
They're like, damn, Good Morning Aurora, like Bill Nye the Science Guy now. Heck yeah, that's right. All right, let's zoom in on that. Okay, what are we taking a look at here?
Okay, so rivers flow. They have a lot of energy.
Right.
And so they impact the bottom, they impact the shore. And when water's moving fast, it scours things out.
Okay.
And when it's slow, it deposits material. It's a natural process. This is how nutrients get recycled and things are changing. The particles in the river are of the bottom substrate are of different size.
Okay.
Some rocks are the size of your head, some the size of your fist, some the size of your thumbnail, some really, really tiny, silty, smooth feeling to your fingers. Sand's in there.
Right.
So what this is demonstrating is that gravity sorts material by mass. The big stuff fell first.
Right.
The other stuff can be suspended for a while, and then so it settles last. So what I'm going to do is turn that into a river.
Okay.
So I just shake it up, mix it up. So there's the river, and you can see how fast some material settles out.
Immediately.
Yep. And so we see this dark water that eventually all the stuff that's suspended in there is going to settle out to what we saw a minute ago.
Right.
And then this will be clear water. So what I use this for, like on Dam Night Out, is to show people that the sediment that they're worried about, when you shake it up, it's suspended and it's going to go.
Right.
It's not going to keep there. But when you have a dam, a rainstorm comes through, the silt gets pushed over the dam, but because it's slowed down, it gets deposited again.
So it is a fact that dam removal will create a cleaner water environment.
Cleaner.
Okay.
Yes.
My first day in class, right?
Well, that's like the word pollution, right?
Sure, right.
Like me raising my voice can be pollution if it makes you uncomfortable.
Right. Understood.
Yes, it is a fact.
Right.
It will be cleaner on several fronts.
Okay.
But there's another important part of the story, I think the most exciting part of the story.
Well.
You ready for that?
How do I know?
Yes, we are.
All right. So, in the Midwest,
This is cool.
our rivers happen to be really great habitat for freshwater mussels. And that is something that most people are unaware are lurking in our river. And freshwater mussels are filter feeders, and so they help clean the river. So they are an asset to the river. Freshwater mussels, you just visualize any kind of mussel, two shells, a goopy thing inside.
Yep.
They can't move around very much.
Right.
They certainly cannot jump a 9-foot dam.
Right.
And they can't swim, they can't fly, they can't run. So they have designed a way to repopulate areas by using fish. Oh, yeah. And so they have eggs. They get this a whole nother part of the story, how those eggs get fertilized. But the eggs turn into larvae, and the female on many species has developed a structure, and it fishes. It puts out what looks like a lure.
Yeah.
And in some cases, there's a particular species of fish that they're after. Mm-hmm. And when the fish comes close to eat that lure, boom, like an archer, they shoot, like a blowgun, they shoot the larva into the gills of the fish. The fish swims away.
Right.
And when that larva grows big enough, it pops down and makes a new place for mussels.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
And so when there's a dam, the fish are not going above the dam.
Right.
Consequently, the mussel larvae are not going above the dam. So some of us think once a dam is removed and that impoundment area is repopulated by mussels, you'll have all these filter feeders that are there. And I can share links. You can probably just Google up mussels cleaning water, and you can see visuals of how this happens, like an aquarium. At Dam Night, I'll have photos of it. But in two aquariums, one has mussels, one does not. Murky water like this. 6 hours later, no mussels, murky water, mussels, clear water.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That is so cool.
So when we talk about a free-flowing river, we're just not taking a dam out. We're restoring an ecosystem.
Right.
So when some people are so concerned about one aspect of their life that's going to be inconvenienced by not having the dam there, and you think about all the things in the ecosystem that are going to be benefiting from a free-flowing river,
it's a no-brainer.
For some of us.
For some of us. The time is 8:48. I want to read something that one of our guests said. Back in the 1920s, there were folks that would fish for clams in the Fox River to eat and use the shells to cut out and create buttons for clothing. Interesting. And they say, you're dropping knowledge today.
Oh, yeah. Well, here...
dropping knowledge.
I don't know how much...
Dan Barrero, good morning.
How much food, was consumed from mussels.
Yeah.
But there are photos of piles of mussels as big as this room that were harvested to make buttons. Before we had plastic and we wanted to have buttons, we used wood or whatever. Mussel shells are really pretty on the inside. And so I should have brought a visual, but they would punch out chunks of the shell, drill holes in, and it was a multi-million-dollar industry.
Really?
And it's right here in the Midwest. Muscatine, Iowa is the international capital of buttons made from mussel shells. If you go downstream of here, in some places you can still find remnants of that. And now you may notice that a lot of buttons still have that swirly kind of look. replicating mussel shells. And somebody told me this, and I'm choosing to believe it, that the Fox River was such an exceptional mussel fishery that the buttons were more prized from here. The largest pearl found in the world was found, guess where?
Aurora.
You're warm. The Fox River.
The Fox River.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't remember exactly where. Little upstream. How about it?
That is amazing history, man. That is, damn, like we're in class. This is awesome.
Environmental science is everything together.
It is.
It's the environment.
Now, interestingly enough, and let's zoom in on that. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, in the time that we've been talking since you,
This is black. You probably can't see on the camera, but this is black.
Yep.
And this part is still brown. So it stays suspended.
Yeah.
So when you look at the river and people are like, oh, it's such a dirty river, I can't see the bottom. That's because it's transporting nutrients and plant life and animal life. This is not a snowmelt river like in the Rockies.
Right.
This river is half of it in some places is from water coming up from the ground.
Right.
Like springs, pure, clean water.
Now you mentioned that most of the or a lot of the dams are owned by the state of Illinois. So the decision to remove a dam or do anything to it could feasibly happen without interaction from folks in the communities. But I know that's touching on it, but you guys that's a separate decision from you guys, I'm certain. Can I
reframe that?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm
trying to be accurate with the way I frame things.
No. Yep. Right. And I want to be careful too.
Yeah.
I don't want to stir up
absolutely not
confusion. Because a lot of people think they can take care of themselves fine. Mm-hmm. They don't need other people helping them.
Right.
But if we look at it this way, let's just say I'm a resident of St. Charles.
Okay.
And I'm convinced now it's going to be so exciting that the dam is going to be gone. If my city owned it, we would be paying for the removal. If someone else owns it, they would be paying for the removal.
Right.
And in addition to this Army Corps study is going to be, just when I was talking about the Clean Water Act, mm-hmm. and there was funding to make something important happen, after the study, I'm pretty sure, unless there's a big change in the federal government, there is going to be federal money associated with dam removals. And so we should be very thankful that removing dams on the Fox River is nationally important enough that all the American people are going to help us take our dams out, because it does impact the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
And that's what it's about, is improving the entire Mississippi River watershed.
Right.
That's there. And the state Department of Natural Resources had a pool of money to take dams out, and a lot of entities took advantage of that, mainly Lake County. So I have a slide that maybe we'll see Wednesday night that shows recently what dams were removed, and it was who got in line to get their dams out.
Right.
And that money was used up, and then for a while the state didn't have a budget, mm-hmm. so that whole thing went away. Now it might,
Right.
And now it might be recreated. So we are really fortunate living in communities with dams that someone's going to help us free our river.
What are the potential employment opportunities that could be created from what we're talking about? I'm thinking about CEJA, the Clean Energy Jobs Act. And I had a great friend, Mavis Bates, on. She talked about potential with solar and new jobs there. Can you foresee any type of new employment that could be created with this type of opportunity?
I don't normally think in those terms, but to have a quick answer, like, I'm a river guide. Like, now I got a free-flowing river.
There you go.
I can take my people without going around dams, and now maybe I'm a hotel owner. And
ding, ding, ding.
The river guide's going to stop at my hotel for an overnight trip, right?
Right.
Oh, and I got a place to serve beverages at night. And these paddlers might want a beverage up at night. Hey, I got a T-shirt shop that says I paddled Aurora. Okay,
right.
So
yeah,
it's where your entrepreneurial mind
right.
might go. If you take a place like San Antonio, like
that's a river walk down there, boy.
Oh yeah, right.
I've been there. That's a place.
So just look at that if you want to know what it could be.
Right. This is a great time also to plug in our friends of the Howland Wolf Canoe, Jake Wolf, and the Aurora Country Club, or the Aurora Athletic Club. Shouts out to the Aurora Athletic Club, Jake Wolf, Howland Wolf. So there's some great river activities already taking place here in our great city of Aurora. Shouts out to the Aurora Athletic Club. Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Blues out there, great music, a great time, and a fantastic and growing community that we've got. All right, the time is 8:55 a.m. Damn, time goes by fast.
I got one more thing.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
All right,
Marilyn L. Lefson. Good morning to you as well.
So for It's Our Fox River Day,
okay,
we have a goal of covering 200 miles. Got it already. We have a goal of involving 1,000 people. Pretty certain we're going to get it.
Okay.
The final goal is 100 events. We're about a third of the way there. And can you imagine all these towns, and we have all different kinds of things going on, Tai Chi and face painting and music and flower blessings and lots of cleanups. There's nothing in Aurora for It's Our Fox River Day. What the heck? Like, come on, Aurora.
The iron is hot.
Can you step up and try and figure out how whatever your affiliation is could celebrate the river? And as an example, you're doing an event and you got a crowd and you can say something about the Fox River and give a cheer. That fits into the event. We're appreciating our river.
That's awesome. So the iron is hot, ladies and gentlemen, for some type of river initiative.
Yep. So
here in the city.
So go to friendsofthefoxriver.org. You only have to use the initials. FOTFR.org.
Okay.
You look for the tab Fox River Day, and you can sign up as a host. You can go as a participant, and you can see the events that are there and see that it's true. There is nothing in Aurora right now, but come on. All these other people are doing stuff.
Right.
And even the municipality making a proclamation, which Aurora did last year. Kudos to Aurora.
Right.
For that. And let's have some fun with it. And Friends of the Fox will be advertising your group. You're the Kiwanis in Aurora. That's a way to say, hey, look how cool Kiwanis is.
Right.
And by the way, Kiwanis does a huge cleanup at a different time of the year.
Yeah, I've taken place in it. Our executive director is a Kiwanis member out of the Cook Center. Or the Cole Center. That's what it is.
Yep.
The Prisco Cole Center over there. Up and down. And the stuff you find, it's sad. It's crazy.
Yep.
But
so I didn't want to discount. Like they do it, but we're trying to do this Day of Unity to demonstrate that. Thank you.
The time is 8:58 a.m. So real quick, before we go, I think we'll take one more look. Look at that. Y'all check it out. Look at that.
There's the settled sentiment, and this is still in suspension.
Still in suspension, but it has changed a lot in the time that we've been here. All right, it was great getting to meet you.
Thank you.
And talk to you. August 24th, Two Brothers Roundhouse. We have the details. We'll make a post after and share the details with it. The show ends on a positive note. What is your message today for the people of not only Aurora, but of the Fox River Valley?
All right, people care about wildlife in crisis, right?
Right.
Pandas, tigers. Maybe the most endangered group of animals on the planet are freshwater mussels. Right here, we have an opportunity to reestablish freshwater mussels.
Freshwater mussels. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's show. We appreciate Gary for coming on and talking to us. This was really good. Stay tuned. August 24th. Come on out there and go to FOTFR, friendsofthefoxriver.org for more information. We will see you Monday. Take care of yourself and each other.
Right on.
Pause for effect, baby. Pause for effect.
Yeah!